Squirrel with a gun might just be the reason I still have hope for games in the future. This game feels like it was ripped straight out of 2004. Playing as a squirrel with a gun and causing mayhem around a sandbox-style neighborhood? Are you kidding me? Don't tell me you played GTA San Andreas for the story when you were a kid. Oh yeah, also, don't tell me that M rating stopped you from playing it either. This kind of game is something you'd only see in the early to mid-2000s. That's why I was utterly shocked when I seen what IGN scored this game. Well, I say shocked, but it was more like, oh yeah, IGN again, being IGN. You see, after having a blast with this game the whole way through and not having to deal with that dreaded buyer's remorse that I usually feel when playing newer titles today, that goes for some of these indie games too, it just makes me sad that this game isn't getting the attention it deserves. Raise your hands if you're getting sick of roguelikes or Souls-likes yet. Now, I know IGN giving out bad reviews is nothing new. They're pretty much the poster children of bad journalism. Honestly, it may be a bit hyperbolic at this point, considering that no one takes IGN seriously anyway. If anyone watches IGN reviews today, it isn't to see whether or not they want to make an educated purchase, it's to see how badly they're getting made fun of in the comments section this time. Just look at their review of Star Wars Outlaws. If you go into the comments section, the first thing you see is, great, I'll buy this next year when it's $20 and most of the bugs are fixed. Or how about this one? Oh, the classic 7 rating from IGN. It's their way of saying we want to rate it less, but we don't want to piss off Disney and lose our media benefits. And finally, if IGN gives it a 7, take away 2 points. Everyone knows the rules. Yeah, classic IGN. So this critic in this review starts by stating the obvious, how few premises are more intriguing than a squirrel with a gun. I feel like at this point, gamers are getting so burnt out by 80-hour plus open world RPGs and third-person action shooters that anything remotely resembling an actual video game these days might measure a pulse. I like how he spends most of his complaints on crashes and technical errors. How come games like Elden Ring, that had constant performance issues for PC players on release, can get a pass? Hell, Tears of the Kingdom still runs like dog shit and damn near dies whenever I use Ultra Hand. But oh, it's not a software problem, it's a hardware problem. That's why people can't trust journalism anymore. That's outside of the fact that they all share the same opinions. Also, he rags on this game for only relying on silly gags the whole way through. I'm just wondering what he was expecting. Are you bummed out because this game didn't have a deeper, overarching narrative or something? Also, I'm still wondering where all these performance and technical issues are. I played this on Steam Deck and it ran smooth the entire time. Sure, I encountered a little jank, but that's to be expected with this type of game. So you rate this game a 6 out of 10 and then say you want a more fleshed out sequel like Goat Simulator? I don't care what anybody says, a 6 from IGN is the same as calling a game garbage. I mean shit, IGN's already basically boiling the frog with the games they give 7 out of 10s to. Like I said, I wasn't having performance issues, I wasn't falling through the geometry or anything like that the whole time I played this game. As far as lack of animations go for like the finishers and all that shit, why? How is that gonna bother somebody? This game is short. Now for a game like, let's say, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which has a few more animations per takedown, but has a 60+ hour runtime, I can see that becoming exhausting. Combat is a small chunk of this game anyway. The majority of the content that you're going to get out of this game is with the puzzles and collecting golden acorns. This is what's going to be most familiar with people who played Goat Simulator, those random events that would reward you with unique skins and all that. I'm actually surprised he didn't mention the music for this game. This whole soundtrack was banger after banger, especially during the boss fights. I'm wondering, did you play this game on mute or something? Basically, this whole review can boil down to his own technical and performance issues and the fact that this game isn't 30 hours longer than it needed to be. Like I said, this game ran great for me and it never once overstayed its welcome because it's short. And if playing as a tiny little squirrel driving around in an RC car shooting rocket launchers and doing Uzi drive-bys counts as shallow combat, I want to know what good combat looks like. I honestly want to know what game you were playing because reading this review, it seems like we weren't even playing the same game. It sounds like to me that you just shot at the enemies and did takedowns over and over again with the same weapon. Which, yeah, if you're just looking for an opening to do a takedown, it's going to seem pretty shallow. If I remember correctly, I was constantly switching up weapons, tossing grenades around, shooting from vehicles, and performing jump shots. Even when I'd get an opening for a takedown, I would probably just throw my weapon at their face and pick up another one. By that same logic, Devil May Cry must have shallow combat because you can just do the most efficient combo over and over again and ignore looking stylish. Once again, IGN proving how much they actually hate video games. Like I said before, I can see how this can come across as hyperbolic, considering that actual gamers don't listen to shit IGN says anyways, but it becomes a problem when it causes great games to sell badly, and garbage cash grabs like what Ubisoft and EA like to push to sell through the stratosphere. I still remember when they gave Doom 2016, one of the best shooters in the past decade, a bad review. Luckily, I still bought the game. We all still bought the game. We also were able to get a hell of a sequel. Now we're getting the Dark Ages, and oh my god, I can't wait to play this game next year. But when games like Days Gone, a phenomenal zombie game, get shit on by IGN for no good reason, fans don't get to have a sequel. But Uncharted 4 gets a 9 even though it has some of the same problems. You'd be surprised at how bad journalism can affect the sales of a game. Squirrel with a Gun isn't a masterpiece. Nobody in their right mind would try to argue that. I wouldn't even say it's a great game, but it's not just an okay game. It's a good game. Calling it just an okay game is the same as just telling people to skip past it. At least with a good game, you might not buy it on day one, but it's worth a look if it's on sale. Hell, some of our favorite games of all time are in the just good category. Y'all like Sonic Generations? 7 out of 10. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit? Hell, even Skyrim. I'm looking at this game right now sitting at 74 on Metacritic. I mean, that's the special edition. I don't know what the other 30 versions of Skyrim look like, but you get the point. I think Squirrel with a Gun is an awesome sandbox in that Goat Simulator-esque style of game. I was smiling the entire 3.5 hours I had with the game, and to me, that's worth $20. A lot of us spend more than that at the drive-thru on our lunch breaks every single day. That's one of the biggest problems with gaming today, is that people perceive a game's value by how long to beat. For me, when I hear game companies talk about how huge their open world is with hundreds of hours of content, the first thing that comes to my mind is clearing out a bunch of outposts for worthless gear and a bunch of empty set dressing that I can't even interact with. If you haven't yet, you should check out Squirrel with a Gun. Or at least wishlist it, because if you're anything like me, I know you probably have over 100 other games that you're trying to get to, and you're just not wanting to add another game to your backlog. This is one of those short games that you play as kind of a break in between those big AAA games. The game is fun as hell, you're a squirrel with a gun, and you're terrorizing the entire neighborhood. When you feel numb with modern gaming, when everyone's hyped for a new release, but you see it and you just kind of feel dead inside, because to you, it's just another shitty company trying to rip off another $70 from you. It's games like this that are there to just give you that little reminder of why you enjoy playing video games in the first place. And that's to have fun. Thank you for watching.